welcome to Naturally Kim's Knitting. I'm Kim, and I am your hostess here on this podcast, all about knitting and sewing and dyeing and spinning of yarn, all of which I do right here in my home outside of Lima, Ohio. Boy, I'm making myself a Hoosier again. Anyways, I hope that you all have a good time here and that you enjoy our chat together, and hopefully you'll share what you're working on or what you're reading or what you are, just what you're doing these days. I would love to know. We are doing, well, let me go on with the introduction stuff. Today's October 16th. Happy birthday, my Genevieve. For those of you who are new here, Genevieve is my little granddaughter. She just turned 5. All the fingers on one hand. We tried to Skype last night because they celebrated last weekend. Their family all went to the zoo right there in Sacramento. And, it's a lovely zoo. And so that when they got home, they opened up all their presents. And so she just, she's a sweetheart. I'm sorry, this is a proud grandma. So we tried to Skype last night, and our end, well, they couldn't see us at all, and we kept getting, stop action, which was interesting at times. But we got to see Genevieve and Tobias, and we got to see Molly, and it was just so nice. Anyways, this is episode 136. Yes, I'm kind of going off on my little chatty tangents today. I don't know, it's a sunny day, I'm feeling pretty good, and I just wanted to chat with you guys so much. Well, if you want to find me online, where can you find me? Well, at Ravelry, NapiersKnits, and then we have a podcast group called Naturally Kim's Knitting Podcast Group. Etsy, yes, I have an Etsy store where I sell hand-dyed yarn, and that's called NapiersKnits. Instagram, I'm knittin_Kim. And then on YouTube, Blogger, and WordPress, I'm Naturally Kim's Knitting. Well, I hope you guys don't mind if I talk a little bit about the knit-alongs that we're doing. We always have a finished object knit-along, which goes along, and I change up the prices every month, which I tell you, postage is expensive sometimes. But for this month's knit-along, finished object knit-along, all you have to do is post a picture of your finished object along with its pattern name under the thread on Ravelry. And of course you do have to be a member of our Ravelry podcast group. You get Ravelry mixed up and it just kind of messes up everything. And what I do is for every 10 entries I add a prize. So since we don't have 10 entries yet for this month, this is the prize that we'll be offering for one lucky winner. It's 4 mini skeins, which were donated by Fiona. Thank you, Fiona. And these are the 4 that I'm going to be giving away for a finished object knit-along. Then I have a knit-along right now. I want to make sure I get this right. For Maylas Knit Corner. I want to make sure I got her name right. And what we're doing for this is we're knitting a pair of mittens or a pair of fingerless mittens for this month. And I have pattern tested for Myla many times in the past, and I love pattern testing for her. Her patterns are so creative, but yet not difficult to do. So if you haven't started, please do, because this is due at the end of October. Oh my, cannot believe that, but it is. I'll show you on my phone some of the patterns that she has. There's some mittens that she has. Some fingerless mittens. Another pair of fingerless. Another pair. She has both. I just really, really like these. Now, I'm going to do a little chatting about my knitting. And excuse me, I'm having some turmeric cinnamon tea right now. It helps with my inflammation from my arthritis. And since I want to knit and spin later on, I drink my specialty. I get it from the Republic of Tea. Oh, it is so good, and the cinnamon is so nice and warming. So excuse me if I reach over for that once in a while. This used to be a Purdue mug. We discovered if you put it in the dishwasher, the big P that used to be on here, it washed off. So it's still got the Purdue colors, but it's not the Purdue mug necessarily. Okay. Well, you know, I've picked up my daughter's afghan again, and I have been working on it. I've been doing like 3 squares a day. Ta-da! Sorry. And this is where I finished off yesterday. My needles always tells me where the next square goes, because sometimes I look around and it's like, where does it go? So I've got that much done. It may not be a full-length afghan, but it will be a nice lap afghan or a nice afghan for my grandkitties. So tickled about that. Then I have so many stitches on here that I have a hard time keeping all the stitches on the needles, but they're easy to pick up because this is a worsted weight yarn. I really haven't gotten far on this week. I apologize, Genevieve. I am working on it a little bit, but this is the Garden Gnome Hoodie designed by the Expat Designs. Mina does such a lovely job, and I just love this pattern. There's the neckline, and when I get finished, the sleeves will go here, and there'll be a hoodie on it, and I'm going to try to put a kitty cat face on it for my granddaughter, because she requested a kitty cat hoodie, because she outgrew her kitty cat hoodie. Then, there it is. There is a lady on Ravelry called, I want to get her name right, catcarri, I'm supposing, and she put out a call for sample knitters. So I am sample knitting the Throwback cardigan, and this is a Drea Renee Knits, but only she's changed up the yarn. This is Malabrigo Rios. And it's working, you work it from the top down. But look at that color work. Yeah, that's right. I was going to say that something didn't look right. But that's because one of the colors is a variegated yarn. And I thought, what is that yellow doing there? But it's supposed to be like that because it also has greens and blues in it. So, but isn't that gorgeous? I'll be finished with that color work soon. And then I'll be working on the main color. But the colors that we're using from Malabrigo Rios are Paris Nights. That's the main color, the blue. Then we have a natural, and I'm going to say Hojas. It's Hojas, and Frank Ochre. And the needles are size 8, which is 5 millimeters, and size 7, which is 4.5 millimeters. Got to get my tongue under control. It's just wanting to say its own things. So yeah, I'm loving this. You know, I always have a little trepidation when it comes to sample or pattern knitting, or I'm sorry, sample or pattern testing, because you're not quite sure what you're getting into. But then when you love it, oh my goodness, oh, it's wonderful. So anyways, I've still got a couple other things I'm working on, but I'm in love with that sweater. After I make that for my friend, I may have to make one for myself. Plus also, I'm loving the Malabrigo yarn. I've never worked with Malabrigo, which I know a lot of people have. I just don't have a place locally to get it. And when I get online, I always seem to go to Etsy first. So I did work on my mind isn't working today, guys. I'm sorry. My scrap yarn socks. I know I got the heel done on Friday, or over the weekend. Or was that last week? I'm losing my But I've been able to work on the leg a little bit. And you can see I've changed colors on this one. I'll be changing colors on the other one soon because that's all of that color that I have. If I don't get too lost in my throwback sweater, I'll work on this today. Oh my goodness, it got caught, tangled up. There. I have a little ring and a little hook on my knitting bag, and it got tangled up into the little ring. Which I should tell you, this bag is by Knit Run Dig. I got this a couple years ago for with a package that I got from Cece when I did one of her books. Anyways, sorry for all the bending over, but my stuff's mainly on the floor. Then I've not been good because I've gotten lost in other things. I have done a little bit of my spread your wings pattern. Yeah, you can see that's where the heel was. When I fall in love with patterns, everything else just kind of stops for a little bit, and I really can't stop. So these are my spread your wings socks, and I do love them. Once I get through the color work, I'm sure I won't be, I have a deadline for the sample knitting, but I also like to work on my other things. I can only work with worsted weight yarn for so long before my fingers get a little stiff. So that's why I go back and forth between my other things. Now you may notice I only had 2 pairs of socks that I pulled out. Did you guys notice that? Well, that's because last night I didn't get, you know me, I didn't get the ends woven in. I got one of my pairs of Christmas socks done. And this was from Gail's Art Aloha sock blank. Aren't those pretty? They're not matchy-matchy. You can tell the colors don't quite line up. But I think who I made these for, they're going to just love the colors and not really care. Okay, so that's everything that's on my needles. What's come off my needles? I think it seems like I'm forgetting something. Let me know if you think about what I'm forgetting. I know there is, I just can't think what it is. So that's on my needles, that's finished objects. Didn't have any questions for me this week. Oh my goodness. You just guys aren't being really inquisitive right now, are you? Fun stuff. I'm having a tea party this weekend. I'm so tickled. You girls have heard, or you girls and guys have heard me talk about how 4 of my friends and myself are going to the UK next September. Well, it's gotten to the point where we're going to have to start thinking about reservations and things. So I told the girls, my husband's gotten the floors all done, so I'm having a tea party. And it will be a planning party and a tea party, and I am so excited. Since we've had our floors ripped up a few years ago, I've not really entertained in the house. I know people don't come to see your floors, but still, it makes you feel better when you don't have flooring that you can't keep clean and all that. So yeah, I'm having a tea party this weekend. It's just going to be a fun time for us girls to get together and see what we can plan and all that. And then hopefully soon after that, I'm going to be starting my Bible study at the church again. I hope. Other fun stuff. Well, like I said, I got to chat with my grandkids a little bit last night. With the internet and camera issues, we didn't talk a whole lot, but we talked a little bit. And oh, I tell you, they have my heart. Between my kids and my grandkids and my hubby and my pets, my heart just gets divided into each one of them. And you just feel it when you talk to your grandkids or your kids. You know, your heart just swells and you know what I mean. Okay, I do need to let you know, because I am an affiliate with Knit Picks, that Knit Picks Mighty Stitch yarn is 20% off this month, and this includes their worsted weight, their bulky, and their super bulky yarn. All of them are $3.19 for a 100-gram ball. Now, of course, you're going to get less yardage with the super bulky than you will with the worsted, but still, it's a good price, I think. Okay, resolutions, I haven't added to any of them. Sorry about that. But I have something to share with you. Oh my goodness. I read and reviewed this book, Change the World Before Bedtime, and it's a collaboration by 3 big dreamers, Mark Kimball Moulton, Josh Chalmers, and Karen Good, and it's for boys and girls. And I like it because on the front it says, ordinary kid, superhero. And it's just, what I love is from the very beginning, kids can make this their own book. And it goes through and it tells you ways that, you know, kids sometimes think, what difference am I going to make in the world? Well, there are so many things they can do. I mean, recycling, complimenting people, having like just playing with your friends for a day, as long as you're nice and playing nicely with them. And then you can visit people that are ill and take them little snacks that they can have them. You could have a yard sale and give them money to people that are, I like this, that are less fortunate. I love the drawings. I just think they're so kid-friendly. But it's full of ideas like that. Then at the very back, I love this because it tells you good deeds to do, ideas page. Then write your own happy words, because that's one of the things they tell you to do. Then, just to help them, there's happy words from around the world. I mean, they have scusa, which is Italian for excuse me. They have hezki den, have a nice day in Czech. Volim I love you in Croatian. I mean, I love this. Then they tell them how to make their own superhero cape. Oh, it is just so cool. Then, in case they need a little help, they tell you how to host a neighborhood fundraiser, help your local food pantry, support clean water projects, or donate new or gently used clothing, books, and toys. I love this book. It's going to my grandchildren. It truly is. I'm going to pause this for a minute because I forgot something. Okay, now, this part of the podcast is going to be book reviews, crafty book reviews, and my Knit Crate review for their October box. It's lovely. So if you're not interested, that's okay. I love you guys anyways, and I'll see you next week. But if you do want to stay with me, I received, this is an uncorrected proof, but it's called The Minimalist Home by Joshua Becker. This isn't a craft book, but this is a book that I'm going to be reading and reviewing. I just received this yesterday from Waterbrook Multima.com. I'm part of their Facebook and launching team. And it looks like it'll be an interesting book. So I'm looking forward to reading this and seeing how much I can apply to my life. Now for the crafty type of books. This is Sketching as a Hobby. It's an interesting book. It is set up just for the very, very beginner, for people who don't even think they can draw. And it goes into the basics like forming a sketch club, realism or conventionalism, where to start, for the free method, all these things. As somebody who likes to not necessarily read what I want to do, but to have examples and try to follow it, this does have a lot of reading in it, with some examples throughout. I thought about giving it to my son But he's so busy with school right now, I just don't know if he'll have time. But I may send it to him anyways. Um, we'll see, because he is a, oh, he does beautiful sketch work. I mean, they talk about perspective in here. And yeah, it's just it's an interesting book, but I also know that I'm not necessarily artistic. I see things in my mind, but they don't turn out like that when I try to put them on paper. So anyways, it's a good book. It's an interesting book. And if you like to read the instructions while you see an example, it's a good book for you. This is a Dover publication and it's $12.95. So, sketching as a hobby. My focus is going in and out today. Then I'm loving this book. I sew, but my mother was a seamstress. she was rather a perfectionist when it came to sewing, which is why she could not ever really teach me to sew. I had to go someplace else and learn how to sew. So I'm always looking for something that will help me. And this is called My First Book of Sewing. Learn how to sew by hand and machine. And oh my goodness, this is full of so many good ideas. Let me show you some of the projects. Some of them I would do, and some, well, they go through everything, like pattern placement, fabric, your sewing machine, the parts and everything, drawing on fabric, sewing by hand. Then they show you hand stitches, sewing with the machine, how's it work, how to do your bobbin, all these things. Then the ABCs of sewing. Sorry, you have to go a little ways before you get back to the projects. But they have customized jeans. I should do this to my husband's jeans because he wears jeans till they have holes in them, and I could always patch them up. I know he'd love it. He doesn't mind his jeans. I just always tell him don't go anywhere in those jeans or whatever. Then they have yo-yo badges. To sew, which would be fun. Flower blossoms. I'm not crazy about the flower blossoms. I don't know. It's just me probably, but I'm not crazy about those. Butterfly knots. Now I thought those were cute. I've always wondered how to do them. I couldn't figure it out in my head. So yeah, that's a cool thing. Scrunchies. Those are fun to make. Bandanas. And each project, they tell you what you need, other materials, the dimensions, and then they give you, good instructions with examples. So it tells you, like, cut out the square, and it shows you exactly how to do that. It tells you to prepare the hems. So, yeah, it's a cool book. And if you're a beginner, sometimes little things can throw you for a big loop. They have a triangle scarf with a braid, a striped scarf, headbands, bookmarks, string of pennants. What a fun way to use up scrap yarn. Or scrap yarn, scrap material. I mean, you could do one with scrap yarn too. A drawstring bag, which I'm going to be making. Tissue pouches, which would be fun to make. A planner cover. A pillow cover, for just like a throw pillow or something. Very nice. Small bins with square bases. I'm loving that idea too. A fox pillow. I love foxes. My granddaughter I don't know if she still does, but she used to love foxes. I mean, we went on a trip one time both sides of Molly and Jeremiah's families. And somebody was asking Genevieve, what is it you really like? And Genevieve said, foxes. And so we got on the internet. We brought up all these things with foxes in them. And oh my goodness, that little girl was so happy. They have funny little charms, which would be fun little ways to use up some scraps. A lined tote bag, which I think is cool. That'd be nice for going on an airplane or something. A tutu style skirt. My granddaughter wanted me to make her a tutu, and I asked Molly, did she just mean the skirt or did she mean the whole thing? And Molly said probably the whole thing. Well, I can sew her one. I wasn't sure how to do the top so it wouldn't stretch on her. They have lined pencil cases, an apron. This is just a really cool book. I'm really loving it. Then in the back they give you some of the patterns and a glossary. Good book. My first book of sewing. And this is $22.95, and of course it is from Dover Publications. You can get this on Amazon, I'm sure. And another one that's dear to my heart, Modern Calligraphy. Before arthritis, I used to do a lot of calligraphy. And I really thinking I can get back to it. And this just is it's just wonderful. It gives you, well, I should start at the beginning, sorry. It gives you exercises to do for ups and down, perfect lines, good and bad lines, basic exercises, more exercises, and flourish exercises. Then they give you lots of practice pages. I don't know if you can see the dots. But yeah, I'm loving that. And they give you examples of letters right beside it. All kinds of letter forms. I have the pens. Breaking the rules, I like that. Making it your own, basically. Getting creative with words. They talk about scale and position, joining capitals or not, double letters, spacing, beginnings and ending. This is a wonderful section. Filling space, developing your own alphabet challenge, and notes about practicing. So yeah, I mean, it's I get so happy about certain things, but anything with calligraphy I love. And this is Modern Calligraphy, and it's also a Dover publication, $18.95. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I'll try to put links on the show notes for them. Then we have, I'll show you the one that I really loved first. Fabulous Modular Origami. And it gives you 20 models with instructions and diagrams. And I'm loving this one. I'm thinking I'm going to send this one to my granddaughter, well, to my daughter. So my granddaughter and grandson, he's not quite ready for it. I don't know if he would really be interested. But they give you fold, symbol keys, and then look at some of the things that they show you how to make. And each thing, I mean, like they have a square coaster, and they have a rating system for each one. Oop, right over here. There's only one dot filled in. But this one is a square coaster. And the directions are pretty clear with the drawings, and they give you some words. It's just cool. I love the things. I mean, you can make, look at these. I love these. And then, I mean, they can go as difficult as some of the ones on the back. But if you do the basics, the more advanced aren't really so hard. This is $18.95, and like I said, it's available on Amazon. I'm sure it'll be on Barnes & Noble. I'll put links. Dover Publications. Then the one I wasn't really thrilled about, Butterflies in Origami. I thought about sending it to my granddaughter, but I don't know that she'd be able to handle these. They also have different levels of difficulty on them, and they should tell you about papers and different folds and all that. And then they have a 9-fold butterfly, and it looks like that. And yes, they give you the directions. I don't know. I will have to try this with wrapping paper. See if I can get it to look anything like these. But I might be putting this up on paperback swap eventually. But they have lots of different butterflies in here. This is a $16.95 book. It's Butterflies in Origami, Dover publication. And I know there are many people out there who love to do origami, and this would be just the book for you. I don't know if it'd be for me until I try it. That's it for the books. For this time. Now, I say that, but knit crates. So they sent a little notice a couple weeks ago saying they were going to send some of the orders in bubble wrap or bubble envelopes instead of their normal beautiful boxes. Well, the mailman came to the door Saturday and it was in a box. And I went, what? A box? Well, they didn't disappoint. The reason why they were going to have to send it in envelopes is because this month they put together a beautiful catalog of knit crate inspirations for October. And it shows you the yarn that came in the different kind of patterns. Let me show, let's see. Oh, first they showed you some of the visual inspirations for the month, which I thought was so cool. And then some of the people, I mean, I don't think people get all those colors, but they may get 1 or 2 of the colors in a kit, in a box. I don't get this box, but this was a DK, and you're not going to be able to see this cowl very well because it's very, very dark. There you can kind of see it. But it's very pretty. And I may make it sometime. I don't know. But they give you all the instructions. I'm not going to put that close because I don't want to step on anybody's copyright fingers. But then they have this yarn, which is made out of Audine Wool's Halo DK. And look at that. That is gorgeous. In all the directions, of course. They actually put all the directions for all the patterns in here, or you can download them if you'd rather have it on an ebook. Then they talk about the designers for the first couple things. Those pictures are not showing up clearly. Sorry about that. Then we had the Yarn Fairy supplied yarns. I don't know. I didn't read this whole thing. But anyways, their pattern is the First Frost cowl with DK yarn. So beautiful. I told you no more books. I was wrong. Then there's a diamond lace hat. You know, I may either see about getting these yarns and trying, because I really like to help indie dyers. At the very least, I'm going to do some of these patterns. I mean, when you think about the cost of patterns, this book in itself gives you your money's worth in this box. They tell you how to care for non-superwash yarns. Then they go to the, I like this. Look at that. It has a zigzag along it. And that's for one of the sock. That's for the sock box. And they talk about the dyer, which is Artistic U yarns. Then they also have a double down sock pattern for a shorty sock. So I'm so cool. I'm so happy with this. Then they're going to have a new Malabrigo partner crate starting next month. Starting November 1st, they're having sign-ups. But then for the next month, their theme is going to be enchanted. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Aren't those colors gorgeous? Okay, that's not all they send because this is knit crates. So they have to give you something to knit. And like I said, for the box I get, that it's artistic U yarns. And look at that. This is called Fandango celery stalk. 75% merino superwash, 95% nylon. And oh, may I tell you, this is soft. Somebody's going to get a nice pair of socks out of that. Haven't decided who yet. But then they always send extras. And I was kind of awed by this. This is the Chow Goo Premium Bamboo 40-inch size 2 needles. I've paid for those before. I mean, this box is amazing. So is Knit Crates worth it? Oh, definitely. It's definitely worth it. I always put a link where you can get, I think it's $10 off your first box. So if you go to the show notes, I can't get links to work under the YouTube one, but you can always copy and paste. Otherwise, if you go to Ravelry or if you go to WordPress or Blogger, you can find them on there, where you can hit and click. So what do I say? So I think I've talked enough for today. This is a little longer than I've been lately, but I've been in a chatty mood today, and I just want to talk with you guys. Lately, my pain levels have been pretty high, and that's why the last few of my podcasts I probably have not seen as animated, and I'm sorry for that. I went to a doctor 2 weeks ago from tomorrow, and they deadened the nerves in my lumbar on one side. I go tomorrow and have it on the other side. I'll be right back. You know, I always get excited when the mailman comes to the door because it's usually either books to review or something knitting related. Well, I got something from Tyndale House, The Soul at Rest, a 40-day journey into the life of prayer, to review. And then, because I love lace knitting, I decided to get the lace collection for knitting. I haven't looked at it other than, a little bit online, but I'm thinking I'm going to love this book. So I'll review this at another time. Anyways, like I was saying, I think this has gone on long enough for right now. It's been a nice visit. I've been loving this visit today. I wish I could share my tea with all of you. And sometimes, like today with my knit crate yarn, I wish that I could share how soft that yarn is. But I'm hoping someday maybe you guys and I can meet somewhere. I would just really, really love that. But until then, I hope you have a good week. I hope your projects all work wonderfully. I hope you don't have mistakes, but if you do, I hope they're easy to correct. I love all of you guys. Big, big hugs, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.